There are times when the air simply doesn't come in. You stop, look around, but nothing seems out of place. But inside, everything is out of place. The chest tightens, as if there was an invisible hand pushing you into yourself, as if something was telling you without words, "Pay attention to me." Have you ever felt this way? Like something is wrong, but you can't put your finger on it? Maybe you've already said to yourself, "It's just anxiety." But that sentence doesn't bring relief, because you know you're not alone. It's a scream, a silent scream that lives in the center of your chest and insists on appearing just when you're trying to move forward. And this is where Jordan Peterson would come in, with a steady gaze and a tone of voice that mixes compassion with precision. He would say something like, "The symptom is real, yes, but it is also a symbol. It carries a message you have ignored for too long." Do you know what that means? That tightness you feel isn't just physical, it's psychological, it's spiritual. It's a direct reflection of your soul trying to call you back. And the more you try to stifle that call, the stronger it becomes. Imagine a child locked in a dark room, knocking on the door, asking to be heard. The more you try to pretend she's not there, the louder she screams. That's your chest. This is your body trying to tell you, "Look at me. I can't stand being ignored anymore." Most people try to run away from it. They take medication, distract themselves, numb themselves with social media, work, food, anything that takes their focus away from the pain. But Jordan Peterson reminds us, the path to healing is not about avoiding suffering, but about facing it responsibly. What if, instead of fighting this symptom, you started listening to it? What if that tightness in your chest that you hate so much was actually a compass, an emotional arrow pointing directly to what you most need to resolve? You don't need to be ashamed of feeling this way. No need to hide. Do you know why? Because this pain doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And only those who feel deeply are capable of profound transformation. But there is one detail. This symptom will only begin to disappear when you stop treating it like an enemy. Embrace your anxiety. This sentence seems absurd at first glance, but listen to what she really means. It means that you accept feeling, that you stop running away, that you reach out symbolically and emotionally to that side of yourself that you have rejected for so long. And when you do that, something changes. Not instantly, not like a miracle, but like someone who finally breathes after being underwater for a long time. Your chest begins to sag, or the entrance. The tension decreases, not because you overcame anxiety, but because you stopped fighting with her. You wake up, and there he is, deep in the chest, silent, but present, like something is out of place, but you don't know what. Then you get up quickly. It goes straight to the cell phone, get on social media, put on some music, a podcast, anything, just to avoid being silent, because silence connects you with what you want to avoid, the symptom, or open, anxiety. And then the cycle begins. You get distracted. He takes care of it. Force yourself to go through the day as if everything is fine, but deep down, you know you're not. It's like living with an exposed wound, covered with emotional makeup. From the outside it even looks normal, but inside it's bleeding. And you try to ignore it, try to pretend it's just built-up tension. But Jordan Peterson warns us with brutal clarity. Whatever you ignore, grows. What you emotionally reject becomes stronger. The anxiety you try to hide turns into something bigger, denser, harder to contain. And the more you tell yourself, it's nothing, the more your body responds. It's everything. See, the body doesn't lie. He always tries to protect you. But when you insist on not listening, he screams. The symptom you try to ignore is not the enemy. He is the messenger. It's like an internal siren that blares, desperately trying to warn you. There's something wrong here. There's something you need to face. But instead of listening, you run. You get distracted, you overwhelm yourself, you say it will pass. But it doesn't pass, because you're not dealing with what's real. Are you dealing with what is bearable? And there is a huge difference between enduring and healing. Peterson would say, you need to stop treating your suffering as if it were optional. It is inevitable. And if faced correctly, it is your teacher. And that's why this symptom persists. Because he didn't come to be silenced. He came to be understood. Anxiety is your psyche trying to reorganize the internal chaos. It appears when you go beyond the limits of emotional repression. It arises when you hide so much, for so long, that the soul begins to suffocate within you. So, here's a question. If you keep ignoring it, how long will your body hold out? How many times will you pretend you don't feel it? How many times will you say everything is fine, when in reality you are on the verge of a silent breakdown? It's hard to hear, I know, but the truth did not come to please you. She came to set you free. And the truth is, this symptom needs to be welcomed. You can't run away anymore. You need to look inside, with courage, even though it's shaking, even with fear. And do you know what happens when you stop running? You start listening. Listen to what your body has been trying to tell you for months, years maybe. I'm tired of being ignored. Listen to me. Embrace me. Understand me. And when that happens, the healing begins. You might be wondering, like this to Hugh anxiety? That's exactly what destroys me inside. And you want me to accept that? Yes. But listen to the end. Most people try to overcome anxiety as if it were an enemy, as if it were an external evil force that needs to be fought, controlled, destroyed. But Jordan Peterson would say otherwise. What you blindly fight within yourself tends to become stronger and more savage, because you're not dealing with an enemy. You're dealing with a part of yourself. Anxiety is not an invader. She is a reflection, an extension of your emotional alert system. It's your unconscious saying, "You're out of balance. Look at me." And here's the problem. You grew up hearing that feeling too much is weakness, that crying is drama, that being afraid is a sign of defeat. You were taught to hide, to disguise, to be silent. But emotions don't go away just because you ignore them. They accumulate, they transform, and when you least expect it, they turn into panic. Do you understand now? The anxiety you feel today is the result of years of emotional silence. Peterson argues that inner chaos arises when you try to construct an artificial order based on denial. You pretend everything is fine, but inside you there is a breakdown waiting for the right moment to manifest. And how does it manifest itself? In the body, in the mind, in the chest, in fear of losing control. That's why you need to hug anxiety. Not in the sense of liking her, but in the sense of accepting it as a legitimate part of your human experience. You need to tell yourself, "It's okay. I'm scared, and I can listen to that fear without it destroying me inside." That is courage. It's not weakness. It's emotional maturity. Embrace your anxiety like you would a scared child. It's not about surrendering to it. It's about guiding her, firmly, with presence, with compassion. You've already tried to fight with her. He's already tried to escape. And guess what? It didn't work. Maybe because war is not the way forward. But listening, Peterson reinforces, the shadow is not integrated by imposition, but by recognition. You need to look at the monster with conscious eyes and say, "I see you, and I'm willing to talk." And that changes everything. When you stop fighting, the symptom begins to subside, because he feels that finally, you are present. Finally, you are taking responsibility for how you feel, and that is the beginning of the transformation. But before you continue, stop for a second. Breathe. If this makes sense to you, if this is touching something that was locked inside, leave your like, subscribe, because this simple gesture can make this video reach someone who right now at this very moment is at their limit, and you will have been a part of it, part of a movement of healing, listening and welcoming, and that is worth much more than you might think. Have you ever realized that most of your suffering comes from trying to not to suffer? It seems contradictory, but think about it. Every time you feel anxiety coming on, you stiffen, try to control. He tries to contain his emotions like someone holding back a dam about to burst. You say, "I'm not going to feel that now." But the body responds, "It's too late. It's already here." This war begins within you. It's a fight between your rational mind, which wants to keep everything under control, and your emotional part, which just wants to be heard. You become the battlefield, and inevitably, someone gets hurt. Usually, you. Jordan Peterson speaks clearly about this. You don't overcome inner chaos with repression. You overcome it with integration, and integration requires the courage to listen to what you fear most. Fighting anxiety is like hitting yourself every time you feel afraid. It's emotional violence. It's like yelling at a scared child, hoping they'll stop crying. But crying is not the problem. The problem is what this crying represents. Unheard pain, unvalidated fear, inside stories never spoken out loud. When you say, "I hate feeling this," you are rejecting a part of yourself. And the more you reject it, the more it comes back. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're trying to survive using the wrong strategy. You get distracted. It overloads. You get into repetitive cycles of avoidance and call it a routine. But your body knows the truth, and he screams through the tightness in his chest, from chronic fatigue, from insomnia, of the racing thoughts that won't leave you alone. Peterson would warn, every time you refuse to face pain, you surrender your soul to fear. You become a slave to what you dare not name. So I'm going to ask you something tough. Now, are you really willing to live running away from yourself? How long will this cycle repeat? How long will you say that you can handle it when you clearly can't anymore? You need to stop fighting yourself. You need to stop trying to be a perfect, unshakable, invincible version of yourself. That version, it doesn't exist, and trying to keep it is destroying you. You don't have to be strong all the time. You need to be honest. It needs to be real. Are you in pain? That's okay. Admit it. Allow yourself to feel. That is true strength. Fighting anxiety is like fighting your body when it has a fever. You may hate the fever, but she's not the problem. She is the warning. Healing begins when you understand that the symptom is your ally. Embrace that part of you, not like someone who surrenders, but like someone who, for the first time, decides to stop hurting themselves. When you understand this, a new possibility is born. It's not fast, it's not magic, but it's real. Peace begins the very moment you decide to stop waging war against yourself. And that could happen now. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe you're not broken? That maybe your mind isn't sick, but simply on alert? See, what you call anxiety may actually be a desperate call from your psyche saying, there's something here you need to look at now. But instead of listening, you think, there's something wrong with me. And this belief is what takes you the furthest away from healing. Jordan. Peterson reinforces a crucial point. Anxiety is the soul's alarm. When it goes off, it's because something in you is being ignored or neglected. In other words, anxiety is not a flaw. It's a call to emotional responsibility. But do you know what happens to a lot of people? They interpret this alarm as a defect. They think they are weak, fragile, out of control, and then they start sabotaging themselves. They take medicine without supervision. They isolate themselves. They stop trusting themselves. And worst of all, they start to believe that they will live like this forever. But listen to me. You are not condemned. You are out of balance. And imbalance can be adjusted, not with denial, but with listening, with presence, with the courage to face what you have been avoiding for so long. Anxiety is a sign that your nervous system is overwhelmed. Your body is in a state of defense. Your mind is on high alert because, on some level, you've convinced yourself that you're in constant danger. But the danger is not always real. Sometimes, he's emotional. The pressure you feel in your chest, it could be the accumulation of everything you kept quiet about. The guilt you carry, it could be the result of years of trying to please everyone and forgetting about yourself. And when you disconnect from who you are, the body tries to bring you back. How? With signs, with symptoms, with that internal alert you call anxiety. Peterson reminds us that emotional chaos arises when we ignore the truth for too long. And the truth is, you're trying to live like a machine, but you are human. You feel it. You get tired. You need emotional rest, space, breathing space, and denying it only pushes you into more pain. You know what changes the game? When you stop asking yourself, why am I like this? And he starts asking, what is this anxiety trying to show me? The right question changes everything. She turns despair into direction, weakness in reflection, fear in opening. Your mind is not broken. She's in survival mode. And this mode is activated when you live in disagreement with what you feel. Peterson would say, your soul screams through anxiety, and its scream is not for the end, it is for reintegration. So stop judging yourself. Stop thinking you're a walking problem. You are a sensitive being out of balance. And that has a way out. There is treatment. It has a wiretap. There is a way. Embrace this truth. Start there. You've tried everything. Meditation, motivational videos, distractions, even prayer. But nothing seems to work when that tightness in your chest appears. Do you know why? Because you're still running away. You want to control anxiety, but you don't want to listen to it. You want to eliminate the symptom, but you don't want to understand what caused it. And here is one of the hardest, but also most liberating truths. The first step is not to fight anxiety. The first step is to stop running away from it. Jordan Peterson says, "You must willingly go to the place of greatest fear. That is where you will find what you need most." But going to that place doesn't mean throwing yourself into the abyss without protection. It means staying present, even when discomfort arises. It's you saying to yourself, "I won't run anymore. I'll stay and I'll listen." This is what we call emotional courage, and she is rare because it requires you to face your own pain without shields. So here's a symbolic and powerful exercise. When the pinch comes, instead of saying, "I don't want to feel this," say, "I allow myself to feel." Breathe. Place your hand on your chest. Speak in a low voice. "I am here. I am with myself." That little phrase changes your nervous system because it sends a signal to the brain. You are not at war. You are in presence. The body begins to understand that it no longer needs to fight itself. And at that moment, the anxiety begins to lose strength. It's as if, instead of throwing gasoline on the fire with resistance, you said, "Fire, I see you. Stay here with me. Show me what you want." Peterson insists that it is in chaos that truth reveals itself. And this emotional chaos that you feel carries within it a seed of order. But this order only emerges when you create internal space for the symptom to express itself. Running away is no longer an option. You've seen where that got you. It led you to tiredness, exhaustion, fear of yourself. Now it's time to try something new. 2. Stay. Notice. Allow. And in the process, you'll notice something subtle but powerful. You start to recognize yourself. Begin to understand that you are not fear. You are the space where fear is being welcomed. This changes everything. This restores autonomy. This breaks the cycle of powerlessness. And at this point in the video, I need to remind you, if this is bringing you clarity, if these words are opening something that was closed, like this video and subscribe. You have no idea how many people are now living the same silent chaos that you once lived through. And your simple action, a like, a subscription, can get that content to them. You can be the link between suffering and consciousness. You can be part of the healing. Now breathe, in truth, 3 times, deep, and say internally, "I don't run away anymore. I stay. I feel. I listen." This is how liberation begins. Have you ever wondered why anxiety chooses the chest as its main stage? Why right there, where the heart beats, where breathing happens, where life pulses? This tightness is no coincidence. It has a meaning. It's as if the body has chosen the most vital place to give you a message. Attention. You are forgetting to live. Jordan Peterson often says that emotional symptoms carry deep symbols, and anxiety, especially that pressure in your chest, is a symbol of something inside you crying out for space, crying out for presence. Think about it. The chest is the place of air, and anxiety is precisely the feeling of not being able to breathe fully. It's suffocating. It's like life is trying to come in, but you're blocking it. And in a way, that's exactly what happens. You block life when you try to stifle emotions, when you repress truths, when you run away from yourself. This squeeze is a clear message. You are hiding from something essential. It could be an old trauma that you've never worked through. It may be a truth about your current life that you avoid facing. It may be a decision you know you need to make, but you've been putting it off. Or it could simply be the accumulation of silences, days and years of swallowing one's own pain. And here's the point. Anxiety is not just biological. It is symbolic. She is a request. And this request is simple. Look inside. Peterson states, "The truth you need most is always hidden behind the thing you fear most." In other words, this grip is not trying to destroy you. He is trying to guide you. It's an inverted map. It hurts where you need to pay attention most. If your chest tightens, maybe it's because you're not breathing your own truth. Maybe it's because you've become accustomed to living suffocated, trying to fit into expectations that aren't yours. Maybe it's because you've put on layers and layers of mask, and now you don't know who you really are anymore. This symptom is your body calling you back to authenticity. He is saying, I won't let you go on at this pace. I won't let you die in silence. I'll stop you now, so that you don't get lost forever. Do you see how this changes everything? Stop being an enemy, becomes a brutal ally, difficult, painful, but still an ally. And this is where the transformation begins. When you stop asking, how do I make this symptom go away? And he starts asking, what is he trying to show me? This is the turning point. This is the point where the grip starts to lose power, not because he disappeared, but because you stopped interpreting it as punishment and started seeing it as a message. Peterson would say, facing anxiety is like deciphering the code of your own soul, and within that code lies a call to live more truthfully. So the next time your chest tightens, take a deep breath and ask, what am I not seeing? What am I afraid to feel? What is this pain teaching me? This question could save your life, because it turns chaos into direction, fear in learning, the symptom in guide. There is a lie that anxiety whispers in your ear every day. You're broken. You'll never be normal. And maybe you believed it. Maybe you even repeat to yourself silently, I am weak. I am defective. I am a problem. But listen, that's not the truth. Jordan Peterson says something powerful. Pain is a sign that there is still something in you that wants to live. Suffering is not proof of weakness, but that your soul refuses to give up. In other words, if you feel anxiety, it's not because you're broken, it's because he's alive. I live to the point of feeling too much, perceiving too much, carrying too much. What you call weakness is actually sensitivity, and sensitivity is strength. But a misdirected force can feel like a curse. You don't have to fight to eliminate who you are. You need to learn to recognize your own structure, your own identity. Think with me. When your chest tightens, when your heart races, when your mind races, what does it mean? It means that there is still energy inside you. There is still life pulsing. If there weren't, you would be apathetic, disconnected, dead inside. Anxiety is the cry of something that insists on staying alive, and that needs to be recognized. But what do? You judge yourself. You compare yourself. You look at others and think, why do I feel this way? And that thought only increases the pain, because it transforms the symptom into identity. You start to believe that you are anxious, as if that's who you are. But you are not anxiety. You are someone who experiences anxiety. And this difference is fundamental. Peterson reinforces, don't define your existence by your suffering. You are much more than your pain. You are the being who has the ability to look at pain and learn from it. Recognizing this is a giant step forward. It's like coming out of the darkness of a closed room and opening the window for the first time. You are not weak. You are someone who needs to rediscover your own strength. And do you know what the first sign of this strength is? It's being here now, listening to these words. You could have given up, but he didn't give up. You are looking for answers. You are allowing yourself to reflect. This is already proof of life. The way forward now is not to cure anxiety as if it were a disease. It's about integrating anxiety as a signal that you need to reorganize. It's taking responsibility for reconnecting with your own essence. Life doesn't ask you for perfection. She asks for your presence. And presence is recognizing that you are here, feeling, breathing, living. So instead of repeating to yourself, I'm broken, say, I am alive, I am learning, I am rebuilding. This simple act of shifting your internal narrative can transform how you experience each crisis, because it stops being a punishment and it becomes a process of growth. Peterson would recall, suffering is not proof of the end. It is proof that there is still something in you that needs to blossom. And you are blooming, even if it still hurts, even though it still looks dark. Anxiety is just a sign that there is more life in you than you believe. When anxiety hits, it feels like your entire body has collapsed. The heart races, the chest closes, breathing becomes short, and the mind screams, I'm going to lose control, I'm going to die. But here's a truth you need to listen to calmly. It's not the end. It's a request. Your body is not trying to destroy you. He's trying to bring you back. Back to now. Back to the present. Back to yourself. Jordan Peterson often says that symptoms carry hidden messages, and that ignoring them is an act of irresponsibility towards oneself. And the message of anxiety is clear. You have disconnected from yourself. Think, how many times a day are you truly present in what you do? How many times do you eat but not savor it? Do you walk but don't you watch the path? Breathing, but don't feel the air coming in? Anxiety is born from this emptiness, from this chasm between you and your own experience. And when this abyss grows too much, the body pulls you back violently. The chest tightens as if to say, "Hey, you're not breathing." The heart races as if shouting, "You need to feel life again." And that's when the golden opportunity arises. Instead of panicking, you can learn to listen. I'm going to give you a practical and symbolic exercise. When you feel your chest close, stop. Place one hand over your heart and say in a low voice to yourself, "I am here. I am with myself." Take 3 deep breaths, not superficially, but like someone who wants to dive into their own body. Inhale slowly. Hold your breath for a moment. Exhale slowly, as if releasing weight accumulated over years. You have no idea how powerful this is, because at that moment, you stop being a victim of the symptom and start being a witness to it. You step out of the role of the sufferer and into the role of the observer. And this is a transformative psychological movement. Peterson would state, when you look squarely at what you fear, the shadow loses its power, because awareness illuminates what once seemed monstrous. Your body doesn't want to defeat you. He wants you back. May you perceive the moment. May you understand that you are alive. Anxiety is too much future. Presence is a return to the now. And when you practice this return, something amazing happens. The mind slows down. The chest begins to open. The heart finds a new rhythm. But be careful. This is not a magic technique that will erase anxiety once and for all. It's a workout. It's a life stance. It's a daily commitment to not abandon yourself. And if, at this moment, you feel that this makes sense, if something inside you recognizes itself in these words, I ask you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Not just for you, but for everyone who is now silent, believing that no one understands what they are going through. Your action can get this message to someone who is desperate right now, and you will have been part of this welcoming chain. The body asks for presence. The soul asks to be listened to. And anxiety, as harsh as it is the most direct reminder of that. Don't fight it. Be with her. Because it is in this encounter that liberation begins. We have reached a decisive point. You already understand that anxiety is not an external enemy, but a part of you. You've already seen that tightness in the chest carries a message. You already understand that running away only makes things worse, and that facing it is the only way. Now the most important question remains, what are you going to do with all this? Jordan Peterson would say, you always have a choice. Continue to live as a victim of your own shadow, or face the shadow and transform it into strength. And that is the choice before you today. You can keep fighting yourself. Keep pretending everything is fine. Continue hiding behind distractions, masks, and escapes. But know this will not silence your soul. The symptom will return, and stronger. Or you can decide to hug. Decide that you will no longer fight against your own chest, who will listen to what anxiety has to say, that will transform pain into direction, fear into learning, suffocation into liberation. This choice is painful, because embracing anxiety also means embracing the truth you've been avoiding. It means facing your responsibilities. It means admitting that there is chaos within you, but it is precisely in chaos that order is born. It is in the heart of darkness that you find the spark of light. Peterson insists, the place you least want to look is exactly where the treasure you need most is. What does this mean? That the symptom you hate so much could be the gateway to the life you haven't yet lived. That this tightness in your chest could be the key to rediscovering authenticity, courage, and purpose. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to take one step. A step towards yourself. A step towards listening, not running away. A step towards acceptance, not judgment. And each time the symptom comes, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? This change in attitude is revolutionary. It takes you out of the victim role, and it puts you in the role of protagonist of your own healing. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. But what is the alternative? Continue living suffocated, trapped in a cycle that never ends? No. Today you can choose differently. Today you can say, I don't run away anymore. I embrace myself. I listen. I rebuild myself. This is the beginning of true transformation. And now, before I close, I need to ask you something very important. If this video brought clarity, if it opened a space of relief within you, like and subscribe, because what you felt here could be what someone, right now, at this moment needs to not give up. And your simple action can be the link that brings that message to that person. You can save someone without even knowing it. In the end, it all comes down to this. Fight yourself until you fall apart, or hug each other until you rebuild yourself. Anxiety doesn't have to be the end of your story. It could be the beginning of a new narrative, and this narrative begins today, with your choice. Embrace your anxiety, hug your chest, embrace your life, because it is in this embrace that you will find the freedom you have always sought.